Welcome to the Only in Movies podcast. I'm your host, Denari, coming to you from Austin, Texas.
And I'm your host, Amato, coming to you from Buffalo, New York. And in this podcast, we break down scenes and discuss things that happen only in movies. Welcome back, listeners.
Hello, everyone.
We're still here. We're still doing it. We ain't going nowhere. We bad boys for life.
Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Only in Movies Pod to find out what movie we will be covering on our upcoming episodes. Watch ahead and send us your suggestions for scenes that should make our Only in Movies list, and also for a chance for your suggestion to make it on the show.
Okay, this week's movie, Unsane, directed by Steven Soderbergh, starring Claire Foy, Juno Temple, Jay Farrow, and Joshua Leonard. A little bit about the movie. Sawyer Valentini relocates from Boston to Pennsylvania to escape from the man who's been stalking her for the last 2 years. While consulting with a therapist, Valentini unwittingly signs in for a voluntary 24-hour commitment to the Highland Creek Behavioral Center. Her stay at the facility soon gets extended when doctors and nurses begin to question her sanity. Sawyer now believes that one of the staffers is her stalker, and she'll do whatever it takes to stay alive and fight her way out. All right, so first off, this movie was shot completely on the iPhone 7. Did you know that? That's not a joke.
Was it really?
Yeah. That's not even like I'm super witty and came up with that joke.
Wow, that's something that I did not know, but
Yes.
I was wondering about the way it looked. I thought it was just an effect.
You know how much this cost to make?
$1.5 million?
$1.5 million. You know how much it made?
No.
14.
Not bad.
That's a come up. If I told you you could invest 1.5 and make 14 million or $1.5 and get 14 back, you'd be good with it.
That's a good turnaround.
That's a great turnaround. So that was it for me for the movie. I didn't love this movie a lot, but we'll talk about it as we go. So the Only in Movies list is a list of scenes.
That was the most interesting part of the movie.
I won't say that. We'll talk about it. I won't say that. But the Only in Movies list is where we discuss scenes from the movie that just could only have happened in a movie. And then we'll talk about our Come On Fam scenes, which are scenes that are not as full scenes, but just moments in the movie where you're like, come on, fam, how did this even happen? So, Denari, you want to go with your first scene?
Yeah, this movie was a little bit maddening.
You know, it's funny. Tons of source material. Tons of source material. Like for our purposes, amazing.
Too much. It was overwhelming.
Yeah, it was. Like, I don't know what's a scene, what's a Come On Fam. I'm lost, guys. I'll be honest with you.
I put everything under Come On Fam, and I was like, I'll sort through this later.
Yeah.
So yeah, after sorting through, I think I'll probably use up 2 scenes worth in my first scene because it was one long scene for me, and that was the being admitted scene. Not right at the beginning, but when we see her actually go to the behavioral center and get herself checked out, and it starts at that point after the actual consult, and I think it runs all the way up until the credits roll. No, I'm kidding, but
So I obviously have that scene too. We have some overlap here, so people get comfortable.
Yeah,
this might take a while.
So she's being admitted, and she's at a behavioral center, a mental health facility, and they give her paperwork to read over after a consult, and she doesn't read it. And she asks, is this boilerplate? Like, it's boilerplate language, but you are there for your mental health. And it's like she's a little bit, and I
go to routine doctor visits and read every line
releases,
on the
everything.
paper. I want to know what's happening with my information, with me, everything. So for you to be at a mental health facility and not even consider reading it was egregious.
And I feel like somewhere on that paper near the beginning would mention that this is a voluntary committal form, because I don't think that would be I don't think that would be like a seventh checkbox.
Yeah. Like at the very, very bottom.
FYI, you are giving us consent to keep you here.
You're staying.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. But my whole thing too was she sat there for mad long, what it seemed like, and waited for them to come get her. I'd have been like, listen, guys, I gotta go. I'm not sitting here and just, waiting. What do you need me sitting here for? If you don't want to tell me, call me. Peace out, guys. and I would
Yeah,
just
and
left.
the receptionist was super rude in terms of being
Standoffish.
like, yeah, very standoffish. She's like, "Oh, what am I here for? Sit down." I was like, "What? When is it okay to get? Maybe she's a pushover." Then again, we didn't see that in the movie.
No, I
We
didn't
saw
get that from her
being
at all. No.
assertive. You know, the way she treated the customer on the phone in the beginning.
I would even say she was aggressive more than assertive. Through her
Assertive,
actions.
aggressive,
Yeah.
definitely not shy, and definitely did not seem like a pushover.
But in this scene, she was too complicit.
Right,
In
so
this
that's-
scene, and like the 4 scenes after, she was just completely complicit. She didn't ask enough questions.
That's what I have. So she didn't read the paperwork. Dan is okay with not getting any answers from the receptionist. She starts getting escorted back into the facility. First of all, if you were of the belief that you were just leaving, why are you so willing to just go with someone wherever they're telling you? Then they take her purse. You know, they put her into a room, and again, she goes into this room without getting any answer at this point. Nobody's actually like even acknowledging her. Pretty much, they're just like, follow us, and she's like, where are we going? And they're ignoring her. She's like, what am I doing here?
Right. And they look through her stuff. They remove all the stuff from her purse. At that point, I'd be like, okay, guys, let's chill out here. What's going on?
I'm not sure that I would have made it to
information.
that point. Before I go into in a room,
Well,
even,
100%. Right. I agree.
I'll be like, who am I seeing here? Who am I supposed to be seeing here? And they for some reason, they did not want to say. So again, I'll be like, all right, so am I seeing the doctor? I'll just keep asking questions until they answer me, or I'm getting the fuck out. You know,
Because I'm grown and I can do
Right.
things like leave.
like he asked for her purse, and she's like, why? And he goes, I do it for everybody. And she's like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
No,
okay.
like what?
No. What are you doing that you do for everyone?
Yeah, like there was like no
Please
follow-up
elaborate.
questions.
Yeah. She stripped down to her underwear. The person said, do as I ask. And she was like, I guess. It's like, what?
She was like, and then I'll get to leave. I was like, are you 12? I was like, I don't understand. She went, like I said, from being very aggressive with the date, being very aggressive at work, to all of a sudden being like a doe caught in like the headlights of a car. Like, I'm not sure what's happening here.
Right. It was really confusing.
The last straw for me in that scene, I'm lying. There was plenty more straws.
Mad straws.
But
right?
there was a sack of straws.
It was like Burger King. You get all the straws you fucking
But-
feel like.
The scene, or the part of the scene that got me, I think, the most upset, because like I said, she was very complicit in following this direction blindly. They told her to take pills.
That's what listen,
I'm not taking any fucking pills.
I have literally 2 complicit. Arrow. Take these. Arrow. She takes them. Arrow. No questions.
What are they? The lady said, "Oh, you're upset. Take these." I'm like, I don't normally take medicine when I get upset. I don't know about
Do
you.
you know
but
if I'm allergic to this? What do you're just giving me stuff?
got no labels, no explanation as to what you're taking. Just a cocktail that I'm just gonna throw back my gullet and just hope that's another thing. Like, at what point between them giving you medicine and undressing you did you think that was leading towards you leaving?
Right? Well, once I take these drugs, I'm just gonna jump in my car and drive the fuck away.
Right, like this is not. I've been to a vet. You know, usually the drugs comes to stay after.
Right? You're right. So we had overlap in that team, but my first scene
Yes.
was the date that you referenced.
Okay.
So I've never really been like in the hookup culture. Like I go meet somebody in the club and then go randomly to their house and then, hook up and then bounce. Cause I'm a punk. So I'd be like, she might kill me. She could have diseases. I don't really know this chick well enough. So fine. They meet, they go out on this date. She says,
And I want to point out that they're using the whole app.
yes. Yeah, it was like a Tinder type of app. Yeah.
Yeah.
She makes the joke that her dad or her granddad died of eye cancer. And then she says, if we can't laugh at cancer, who are we?
That's dark.
Then she says, hail Satan. So now I'm like, again, this is the first time I'm meeting this girl. I met her through an app. She just said those 2 things. I'm going to be a little bit
out.
red flagged, right?
I have written, I am out.
So she gets to the house. When does she say, don't call me or contact me after?
They were still
in the bar. Okay.
They were still in the
Okay,
bar.
so she says,
This is going to go exactly as you want.
do not call or contact me after. 3rd red flag.
Wait. To be fair, that might be actually very enticing for a lot of men.
Again,
So
I'm speaking from the Amato point of view. From the Amato point of view, that is a 3rd red flag, right? And he says Jesse is good with that. So he went completely third person. because he was so excited. Again, some men would be. Amato would be like,
His tail was wagging at this point.
This is too convenient. I don't know. Goes to her apartment.
Denari would have been out at the Hill Satan part, so yeah.
right. Goes to her apartment, right? So I honestly, I have written down she's going to kill him because I hadn't seen this movie. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, fuck, am I going to some strange chick's apartment just because she told me I was going to get some?
Well, that's kind of what the apps are for, Amato.
I
know, but Amato is like, fuck that. Yeah,
hell no. She can have some goons in the closet ready to come out and rob me while I'm naked and vulnerable. I don't have time for this. Okay? Right. I don't want a shotgun in my face because I was horny. I'm good. I make better decisions. So then she throws herself against the wall and goes to the bathroom. And he still kind of like hangs out for a little bit.
Yeah.
He still like meanders
so
out. He doesn't
out?
run. Right. He's like, wait, you told me this was going the way I want. This is not what I had in mind. There were promises made.
Case in point, he was still banking on that last part where she was like, I'll do what you want. And he was like, ooh, God. He had the eyes, like
from the cartoons.
No, Looney Tunes, yeah. Yeah, I thought that was all very risky for both of them.
Yeah, 100%. Right, absolutely. It's risky for both of them. But to me, again, as an Amato, because that's all I can be. I can't be in anybody else.
An Amato.
Right, as an Amato.
It's like a Pokemon.
Right, go into her house puts me in such a vulnerable position. Especially again, I don't know you, I don't know your friends. You didn't say, Denari didn't say, hey, Amato, meet this girl. And then I can say, well, if she stabs me in the eye, I could go back to Denari and be like, why are you introducing me to the eye stabber?
I got a couple of bones to pick with you.
Right. Can you please never introduce me to nobody again? Again, could work for normal people. The Amato would not be into that at all.
Now, when she did the flailing, I was like, why is this guy still here?
Right.
I would have been out.
Oh, all right. See you later. I was like, oh, no. He's pushing it. Do you think he left like a review of her? Can you leave reviews on dating apps? I never really been on like a dating app.
I have no idea.
So can you leave like a review? Like, this chick is nuts.
At most, maybe she'll report her. I don't know.
You know they have a dick Yelp?
So I've heard. Well, if they have a thumbs up and thumbs down, I think she's gonna get two thumbs down on this one.
Okay. All right.
My next scene, again, it's a continuation of the first scene that I had. It's like right after that, so she comes out of the room after taking said pills that we discussed, and then she starts to turn kind of condescending even and trying to be super nice to people.
With the whole phone call thing?
Yeah, she's like, hey, sweetie. I'm like, come on, man. You were laying it on pretty thick there. You didn't have to be so condescending. And like, I appreciate you so much. You're really caring for me.
Right.
So besides that, her first move when she is granted a call is to call 911 from within a behavioral health facility. She didn't have the forethought to think, this might be problematic. Imagine me on the other side receiving a call from a behavioral health center talking about I don't belong here. It's not exactly very unique, even when you think about it in your own head. It's not a very unique premise.
Even before the person says, you're going to call the cops, everybody called the cops. You're thinking to yourself, this doesn't make any sense. I have called cops of all people. She didn't call a family. She didn't call a lawyer. She didn't call friends. She called the cops. Yeah.
The cops don't know you from a hole in the wall. Your parents could vouch for you outside of there. Or you could explain, if you have, they didn't say that she had a time limit even, but she could have very easily explained, hey, I signed a voluntary self, because at that point she knew and they explained to her what she had done.
Right.
So she could have then passed that on to her parents, say, hey, I signed a voluntary self-commitment form that I didn't read. Yes, I know, I'm an idiot.
Right.
But help me, there's a clear path here that she could have taken. And then she went like the fairy tale land route where the cops come and rescue her from the freaking place.
From the evil people. Right.
Yes. They're coming right now. So her attitude was a little difficult to stomach. And I guess if we want to get into like privilege, then maybe it's not. But even then, when you find yourself in a certain scenario where you're at risk, you would think that you have a little bit more awareness of like your surroundings. You know what I mean?
And the options of alleviating that situation.
Yes. And it sounds like she was a
pretty smart girl. Yeah.
Smart girl, high achieving, performing. So for her to, like I said, her whole character just cowered and kind of just fell apart in this scenario. And it is a lot to take on, admittedly, but you kind of see her bounce back from it at some point in the movie and you have to wonder, where was this the whole time?
Right.
It took a long time to get there. And a lot, like she let all her guards down. It wasn't like, a fault here, a fault there. It's like every mistake she could have made, she made, essentially. So yeah.
My next scene is the... Oh, man, I could do this all day. I'm looking at my notes like, Jesus, there's just so
I have like
much
9
here.
come on fams, and I don't even have a third scene yet. I'm just gonna fucking roll the dice.
So my next scene is the mother murder scene. So the guy knocks on the door.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
The guy knocks on the door and says maintenance at a hotel, right? First off, if you're in a hotel, your guard has to be up because you're in a hotel. Any of these people at any of these floors could be mass murderers, and you have no idea.
She also knew at this point what her daughter had told her, that the stalker
about
is
the stalker.
there.
Yes. But did she believe her? We could say maybe she didn't believe her. Maybe. I don't know.
I guess we could, no, because she went to the cops, remember?
Yeah. I listen, man, I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, fam.
No, none. This movie did not deserve this.
So, first off, did you call these people? No? Then they shouldn't be in your hotel. Second of all, he says, I'm checking the AC unit. You know, what's your next step?
Let me call the front desk and find out.
Let me call the fucking front desk and find out if this guy should be at my fucking door. What did she do? Open the dumbass door like a dumbass.
He even says that, yeah, you know, first of all, they showed like the view through the peephole. I ain't opening the door for nobody in no shadow. All right.
A.
That is just
can
foreboding.
I see your ID, a name tag?
Put it up to the peephole. What company do you work for? What's the name of this hotel? You don't even have to get through all that, like you said, because you should be calling the front desk for this.
I had an interaction with a Fed the other day. I'm not snitching nobody, just making sure y'all know. He came to do a background check on somebody. But, and the first thing he did was show me his badge, make sure I could see it, make sure I could read it, right? And that eased my, like, oh, well, maybe you're lying. So he had to just show some credential. He did not.
Right. No credentials at all. And like we said, she's even wary about the whole smoking thing. And she's like, I think the scenario was set up for her to not want someone to go into her room.
Right.
And catch her smoking in the room that she's not supposed to be smoking in.
Right.
But instead, she lets him right in. That was one of my come on fam scenes.
All right, so let's take a quick break since we both did 2 scenes, and let's do a couple discussion points. What the fuck was this dude's plan? Okay, let me take a step back. I thought this movie started off pretty interesting. Not pretty interesting. It started off interesting. I was like, oh,
downgraded it.
Yeah, because pretty. I don't want nobody to go to watch it and say, they accuse me of being a liar. So I was like, oh well, is she crazy or is that really him? And there's no way for us to actually know that. So
did a great job. I would admit that was great the way it was set up in the beginning.
Perfect.
We weren't entirely sure if she's flipping out or if it's legitimate.
If they would have I don't know how they could have ran with that, but if they could have did a little bit better, I would have been way more intrigued. The second it turned into a ghetto ass Halloween, I wasn't feeling it anymore. Where he was just randomly killing people. It was just stupid to me. So first off, how did he know what hospital to find her in?
Yeah, there was a couple of things. How did he know what hospital? Because he was there seemingly from the first day.
That's what I thought. So I was confused, right? So how did he? So did he have something to do with getting her committed? Like that whole process.
So they didn't actually hint at that. From what I can tell, I didn't.
No, I agree.
So but he did explain that he was watching her every move. So my only thought is that he knew where she was going, and then as soon as she got committed, he then took over that person's, identity, George. Yeah,
so nobody met George?
So exactly. So this now here's where the story starts to fall apart pretty quick. They say we did a long background check on George. I was like, okay, but
they didn't interview him.
This is not George. So did no one meet George? Was this George's first day? It would have to be his first day. That's the only thing that makes sense.
No, but nobody interviewed him, son. Even if it's his first day.
You could have been interviewed by a higher
for
up
HR. Okay, I give you that. Yeah.
But this would have to be his first day. Because if it was the second day, then someone saw George. Right? So like I said, he would have to show up on his first day and be George. That's very convenient.
And then not
only that, George would have to stay around long enough after that and hope that someone doesn't find out that he is George or whatever.
But wait, take a step back. What happened to George's family and friends? Nobody reported George mission?
Yeah, I would assume someone knows that George is about to start a new job somewhere.
Not even that George started a new job. I haven't heard from George in 7 days. At least 7 days passes in this movie.
But what do people do? So if you don't hear from someone at home, where's the first place that you reach out
to? Right?
So like I said, George must have just had zero family anywhere. He would have to have zero family anywhere
And
because
friends.
if he's missing at home, right? If he's missing at home, then that means that you would expect someone to reach out for him at work, whatever job that may be. His old job, oh, he has a new job now. Maybe they don't know. That's about as far as you can take it with that. So that was my problem with this movie. It was a lot of convenient things just kept happening.
And then what was his plan? He put the cell phone under her pillow with the picture of the crime. If she could have held it together for 5 seconds.
I was so pissed. And I actually have written down after her reaction from the phone, I was over the movie. I was like, all right, I'm done with this movie.
That was it?
That was it. That was the last straw. That was the last straw. Because I was like, really?
That is when you left Burger King.
At this point, I was like, you already know he's in here with you. You know he's fucking with you. And then you get a tool such as a cell phone, and your reaction is to immediately yell and...
A cell phone with evidence.
Like, come on,
Not just a cell
man.
phone. A cell phone with evidence. What was his plan?
His plan was to keep her fucking up.
In the facility forever?
No, I mean, his plan was just to have her continue to fuck up. Because she was pretty much doing
right,
half
but
the
then
work for
to
him.
Keep her? I don't know. That couldn't have been his plan from the beginning, though. His plan was from the beginning was to get her to stay long enough, so to get her committed twice. Because a lot of the things that got her extra committed, he had shit to do with.
A couple, yes. A couple that she did all on her own. But...
Like, he didn't even influence. She threw coffee on Violet. She slapped the shit out of Violet.
All right. So let's get into my next scene.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is my third scene. We're speaking about her actions and how they got her into deeper shit. So her first attempt at trying to getting out of the situation, as we talked about, was the 911 call. Dumb. Her second attempt then was to hit another patient on the way to get to the door and scream and bang on said door inside of a mental health facility to try to prove your sanity.
Right.
I was like, where was her critical thinking at that point? Because she had taken one, I guess, dosage of medicine, but she still looked to be within her wits.
Do you realize how many people she slapped?
she was a slap machine.
She slapped the doctor. She slapped Violet. She threw coffee on Violet. She was on one. She was not for play.
But to be fair, the guy grabbed her breast. That was...
Oh, I forgot him. That's right.
That's the first person that she hit.
That's right. She hit the guy. She hit him. Then she slapped. Yes.
Yeah, she was on the way to the door. He got on her way, grabbed her boob.
Yeah.
And she knees him. All right, you can argue it was a reflex, maybe, but you would have to be very ignorant of the fact that what that action could bring upon you in this situation. So you attacked another patient when nobody saw him. You could have just as easily yelled, "Hey,
he just grabbed my titty.
He just groped me."
Right.
Knocked on the door. But no, you sidestep the groping and then proceed to bang on the door like a crazy person, yelling, "I'm not crazy. I need to be out of here. Where are the cops?"
And doesn't she slap the doctor as he opened the door and come in?
Yeah, when he comes in, then to be fair, she saw the other guy's face and punched the guy.
Right. But from nobody else's point of view, right?
Yeah, exactly. She hadn't gotten to talk yet. We'll get to the talk. But you do not have to iterate too much. That violence within this facility is likely not going to be well received.
Right. Right.
And she continued, as we detailed, violence was not something that she shied from.
Right.
The entire time she was there. So that was my last full scene. But I have plenty of come on fam scenes after that.
So my last full scene is that whole dialogue between David and Sawyer towards the end of the movie.
In the solitary confinement
room?
room?
My God, the dialogue was horrible. He tells her, "I don't want you to feel uncomfortable." Fam, you have her in a mental health facility that she's been held in for over a week now by this point, and you don't want her to feel uncomfortable. He says, "I love you so much from the moment we met." He said, "I disconnected the camera." Nobody notices that he disconnected cameras. He disconnected the security cameras. No one notices. Hey, we're missing cameras for a whole portion of the building.
He had unfettered access to the entire building, apparently.
Right, 100%. To a mental health facility, because that's how it works.
He was able to bring Nate downstairs. No one noticed he was missing.
Patients just disappear.
Left and right, apparently, just missing, and no one checks in on them. There is no head count, apparently, at the end of the night or anything. It's just like, we notice that they're missing when the news tells us that they're missing.
When bodies turn up.
All the beds are accounted for. How does someone not notice that? And if the person is gone, I would assume the next step is to begin a search.
Right. I don't know, man. So David and Sawyer stand in that room and talk for what seems like 3 hours.
Forever.
Nobody interrupts them. Nobody goes, "Where's George?" or "Where's the patient?" They just totally completely ignore that they're gone. Now, by this time, we find out that nobody even knows that she's there, but nobody even looks for George or wonders where he is or anything like that. A patient just fucking died. You would think they would have all hands on deck. There would not be like a misstep fucking or anything. Yeah. Someone just died in your facility and you're just full-blown conversation. Then they get into the end of the conversation, like the finale is just like dumb as fuck. She's like, "You're a simpleton, you're a dunce, I'm a bitch." She says like child killers
she went off
are better
on him.
than you. I agree. She was mean and she was hurtful, but then he walked away crying. And I was like, oh, come on, guys. Like, that's his, like, he still, like, loved her to death after all of that. And we walked away crying, like, damn, you hurt my feeling. And I don't really got time for this. Like, I think that's when I was done with this movie. But this movie wasn't done with me. There was still a good, 20 minutes left after that. And I was like, how are they going to flesh out another 20 minutes? But they did it. She asked him, she said such mean stuff to him when she said, have you ever had sex with anyone? Oh, well, you need to get some to have a comparison. Oh, my God, it was just,
how will you
now
know?
You knew that eventually you find out that was her plan to get the shank, but that was just really complicated.
As soon as she said the person, I mean, that's pretty far-fetched that you would have to convince the guy that is literally madly in love with you will be okay having sex with another person with you there at your behest.
And another patient goes missing and no one noticed.
It was in the middle of the night, so maybe, but again,
somebody should be watching mental patients in the middle of the night. Yeah.
I had more trouble escaping my senior trip in high school than this person did carrying patients around in a facility.
I always say you guys have more trouble with your trips because of my generation, because we didn't have all those rules. I took my daughter and dropped her off for a trip. They gave me a full paper worth of rules. You can't have candy out of the packages. You can't have sodas that's not in like a 6-pack that are all still attached to each other. And I was like, you can't have blankets on the bus out. And I was like, damn, we did all that shit. All of those rules are because of us. They check out bags.
They would tape our doors.
Yeah. Well, they taped our doors, but we figured ways around it. There was windows and balconies and shit. So
yeah, we're doing jailbreaks.
Yeah. Fucking 14-year-olds hanging from fucking balconies. Yeah.
Look at all these rules for kids, and then you have people in charge of watching these folks that are apparently all sleeping. Now, again, let me shoot them some bail. This was a very poorly run facility. I think that was another theme of the movie.
So, because my scene is like, this is a long one because it kept going. So she gets the shank. She stabs him once. Again, I don't know why you stab someone once. If you're gonna stab someone, you need to stand them multiple times because that's how stabbing works. I'm no stabbing expert, but from what I understand, stabbing someone once isn't the most effective thing unless you're a perfect stabber.
And it was with like a spork, like
a sharp ass spork, but a spork nonetheless.
Oh, this is not the moment to be conservative. Like you would have made sure that he's not gonna get up, and then
she completely left Violet. She left Violet for dead.
Yeah. Well, that whole sequence, right, of her stabbing. So Sawyer stabs George, and then she gets up and like runs into Violet, and for some reason Violet doesn't understand what the frick is going on. Right. Because they're like fighting to who's gonna get in front of the door. I'm like, at this point,
let's just all leave. Yeah.
You see Violet get up and run towards the door, not worried at all about what's happening with Sawyer. But then at the same time, she doesn't let Sawyer do what she's trying to do and get them out of there. So I wasn't sure if during the whole like making out and stuff, at one point if Violet realized or not. But it seems like she didn't. What was going on, and she actually was getting manipulated by Sawyer, which makes the next scene, when she leaves her there, even that much more fucked up.
And then she runs through the hospital, which is like completely empty. So now I'm like, maybe she's still crazy and this guy doesn't really really exists because she's now running
That was that. I went there. I went there as well.
Yeah, like because she's running through an empty hospital, not a single person, and then they were like, no. That would be too thrillery and maybe make a good story. He's real and he's a bad killer, and then
he's a bad killer.
Yeah.
So the movie did a good job in the beginning, as we mentioned, of keeping you kind of out of the loop. Is she really crazy? Is she not? And that actually gave you too much hope, I think. So I hung on to that for the rest of the movie, like you said. Like, is this also part of like
Right,
a trick?
yeah.
You just try to give it whatever you can.
No, but it didn't deserve
keep the
it.
idea going. No.
Okay, so what's funny is this movie's only an hour 38, which is relatively short, and I was like, this was 20 minutes too long.
This movie felt so long.
It should have been a fucking episode. It should have been like 48 minutes.
And it was crazy is that the longest part was supposed to be, I guess, the action part, the ending of the movie. That was the part that dragged. How they managed to do that is beyond me.
Right. Well, because a lot of that sets off with that stupid conversation. And that conversation just is a drag conversation. I think it's one of those, it was supposed to be really artsy and, like, listen to this dialogue and exchange, and it sucked.
Her masterfully, like, maybe breaking him down. I'm like, no, it did not come off that way. It was very odd. Like I said, for her to get all this agency all of a sudden, when the entire movie, she's literally been committing mistake after mistake after mistake. And she didn't learn anything new at this point about George or David. She didn't learn anything new about her situation. It's the same situation she's been in the entire movie. And I guess she's never been alone with him long enough to try to do it. But the whole movie, I was even thinking the angle of why is she fighting it as opposed to manipulating it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I don't got nothing. I don't understand. I don't understand this movie, so I have no good answer for you.
If you have someone that adores you and all they want is to be with you and you have no way out, then your maybe out is to go along with it and see if they can get you out of here and into a situation where you can maybe then get yourself out of it. She kept getting herself deeper and deeper in. All on her own, slapping people.
I think like all of her decisions were not well thought out and she didn't like see any sort of big picture at all. So we'll go into the come on fam scenes. I described them a little bit earlier. I'll jump into one of mine really quickly first. When they tell her you're a danger, she starts talking about her family, friends, and co-workers that have lies. She assaulted a staff member. She says no, lies. She's had multiple acts of violence in 7 days. I think they might need to keep her for observation. You've been there for like an hour. You've already had multiple acts of violence.
She kind of realizes how it's sounding, and you see her face change. She's like, well, yeah. I mean, if you say it like that, and for whatever reason, I found it odd that she chose not to bring up the groping, because that could have been a saving grace there. But like, yes, I hit him, but he actually fondled me, and that's why I did that, and that's why I actually banged on the door. I wasn't, banging because of that. I was just scared, etc., etc. That could have been, after seeing how the perception is being received of yourself, that is a way to try to manipulate
the situation
to
your betterment.
No, it's like at every turn she went with like
the dumbest fucking answer,
the straightest, most basic route she could, without any kind of forethought, without any kind of strategy.
Well, what she told him, send me to solitary. I was like, this chick don't know what no solitary is. She obviously has, like, you doing too much.
Like, I would love it there.
Too much, baby.
It was, and then she almost snapped on a doctor. I was like, this is the only guy that could potentially save you, and you're about to snap on him. She's like, listen to me. I was like, it's like you're not listening, boo boo. All right. So that was your come on fam scene.
Yep, that's one of my come on.
Yes, I'm sure there are plenty.
Let's be clear.
So one of my come on fam scenes is her interaction with Nate, played by Jay Farrow. Do you know about Jay Farrow, by the way?
Yeah, I do.
Have you heard of him?
Absolutely,
okay.
Yes.
So,
I think he might be the only person in this movie who I knew other than Matt Damon, and he was in it for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. So yeah, she's talking to Nate in the courtyard, and she is very adamant, even though people don't believe her, but she is very adamant about the fact that her stalker is in there with her, and he watches her every time. He watches her enough to know what facility she was going to, and yet she continues to do stupid stuff like use the phone all in the open, walk around the facility, ask him for the phone. I'll be making sure that he is nowhere near me at any time that I'm going to do any kind of moves that are for my own betterment.
Right.
So when she goes over to Nate and when they're in their room and like uses the phone and does all that stuff, I was like, and again, and of course he's looking through like the blinds at everything she's doing. It's like she's vacillating between being completely paranoid about this guy and then completely ignoring
his existence. Yes.
Yes.
So one of my come on fams was, I know he watched her and he stalked her and all of that stuff. How did he know about her favorite book? And like he knew about like her thoughts. That's what's like confusing to me. Like I can understand stalking somebody and know where they go and all that stuff, but how did he know her like thoughts?
I feel, yeah, she acknowledged it, so I guess she's watching that closely.
Like,
one thing we could maybe conclude then is maybe he's hacked her computer.
Possibly. That's what I considered that.
Because that could also be how he knew what facility she was going to go visit.
Yeah. But now, again, we're giving them outs.
We're helping them, man. They need something at this point. But I landed on that as well. I thought, but he could have hacked their computer because Matt Damon also mentions that the whole
Facebook.
And that's another thing. If he was already, and it looked like she already might have budged up there because she was like, oh, when he was explaining the whole Facebook catfishing game.
Yeah.
How, they could just be somebody else.
And she said, I'm on Facebook, but it's private.
Yeah. Girl, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Stop talking.
So maybe he was already infiltrated her Facebook, and that's where, how on
he knew
Facebook,
all that stuff.
You put the whole favorite.
Yeah. I didn't think about that one. That's a good one.
But all things that a person that's worried about someone stalking you should think of. I mean, to be fair, he's an expert, I guess, or presumed expert at that.
Right.
But she went to the length of moving to a different state before thinking about her privacy settings on Facebook.
Well, I guess, so that takes you to, how did he know what state she moved to?
I mean, he wouldn't be a good stalker if he didn't.
Because of Facebook?
Maybe.
But I mean, I guess if you have a stalker.
Oh, he had her mom's mail, so he wasn't only.
Oh, that's right. He did. And I remember I wrote down, was that envelope real? Because now you're in that part of the movie, you weren't even sure.
The whole faking out of her mental issues actually helped the movie, even when they didn't intend it to.
Right.
when they were actually trying to divulge who he was, it still came off as like, oh, maybe they're still playing with us,
right.
Which is not good. When people don't get your reveal, it's not a good thing.
Right. I'm still like, I'm not sure. Until he probably until he killed Nate, I wasn't 100% sure.
That is 100% correct.
No.
Until I saw it on the news.
Right.
That's when I knew it was real.
Because when
that's crazy.
But when he took the pill out the pocket though and gave her the pill, that was like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, at that point I was like, damn, is she even imagining that? But that doesn't kind of make sense.
But when they did the toxicology and saw that there was a non-prescribed pill, then I was like, well, that's got to be him.
I think that was them like hammering it in, like, all right, this is how
and we still didn't get it. We're still like, we're not sure.
We're still like, I don't know. This doesn't make sense.
It's not making any sense.
They got an arrow pointing at him. It's him. You're like, I don't know.
No, it can't be.
So my next scene is, and I referenced it, they're in the solitary confinement room. She does the stabbing. She runs through the hospital. She breaks out, and for someone that's running for her life, she runs like 10 feet away from the facility and then takes a breather. I was like, really, you worked so hard to get out of this place. It's like running out and hiding behind a tree after coming out of like a prison. And of course, he was right behind and whacked her right in the head. It was very disappointing.
I was unsure. I was unsure how he had just got stabbed in the face and was able to catch up with her so quickly and figure out where she was.
Especially since she had the keys and all
that.
And
a good head start.
Yeah, because you didn't see him. I mean, granted, she was hitting dead ends and going where she could, whereas he might know exactly how to get outside.
But there's got to be more than one exit out the building.
No, and there would be. I assume that there would be. So, the problem is that she couldn't open them.
No, but I'm saying, how did he know exactly which one was open? Oh, he just knew.
Yeah, I'm saying he might know that.
He worked there for like a week, fam.
But he was really trying to, get this person caught. I'm trying, Amato. I'm trying.
Okay. All right.
I imagine that he knew the layout. If she runs this way, she's going to come out here, and I know how to get there faster.
So my next one was the introduction of how he became her stalker when he's like, you're making me look needy. I'm like, fam, you're needy as fuck. Like, I don't know what you're doing right now. He's like, he would want us to be together, and he left a blue dress on her bed. I was like, this is just really, really weird.
Yeah, I couldn't have been less interested. I was like, nobody cares. The way they introduced it, there was no like appeal to why. I didn't want to know. He was a stalker. That's all I needed to know. The backstory was shit, so why did you even include it?
So I got one more Come On Fam. I have one Come On Fam, and then I have like another like series of Come On Fams that come together. So when Nate's in the stall in the bathroom, and then David comes in, why didn't he just stay in the stall? You could stay in a stall forever, and nobody's gonna bother you. You're in a stall, unless they wanted to attack you, but you still have a little more leverage.
Yeah, and I don't think he was. I think he wasn't worried about what do you call this, getting attacked. I think he was more worried about getting caught. But again, the best way to do that
is to stay where you were.
Stay covered.
It's ridiculous shit.
I thought he was gonna get searched, honestly. And again, that doesn't help you if you're gonna, make yourself available to get searched by leaving the stall. I thought he was gonna hide the phone somewhere, stick it behind the toilet. His plan was basically just to come right out and hope to walk out and not be bothered. But then why freak out in the first place?
Yeah,
the acting and like the scenarios in this movie were all fucking over the place. And so my last Come On Fam scene is no one from the news came looking for Nate when he didn't report in. Like you see him reporting in throughout the whole, like almost daily. He's what it seemed like, anyways, speaking to someone, talking on the phone, etc., asking things of them. So if your guide is all of a sudden, because it's no longer checking in, you would probably follow up on that,
right?
Give him a call, find out where he is. From what the movie showed, it looks like days passed before they finally showed it on the news, because they knew about somebody getting killed. But then a couple of days later was when you actually see that news article or that news segment on TV. Like, so how long passed before you reported?
Right.
Your undercover reporter hasn't checked in a couple of days. Probably a problem, especially one that's reporting on the shady stuff that's happening there. Like it just seems to make sense.
Yeah, that was completely confusing. So one of my funny scenes was when they said no touching, but masturbating in here is fine. I thought that was hilarious.
He had a couple of funny lines.
Yeah, he did his thing. He did all right.
The other line too, when he goes, Sawyer goes, rain check on blowjob, and he goes, I wish I could go one day without hearing that. I was like, huh?
That was fire, right? That scene was pretty funny.
But I was like, what? At first I was like, how often are you hearing that?
Right. And then my last funny, it was a funny Come On Fam. I really fucking hated this movie. I didn't hate this movie. I fucking hated this movie. So she's running through the woods and she can't find a weapon in the entire woods. Like she could
not a stick, a rock,
a bag of rocks. She could have got like 6 rocks. It's the woods. I was just like, oh, I'm so really. Can this movie end, please? But then she did find something and she made it count. So yeah,
she didn't even find. She had it the whole time. It was her mom's rosary.
Yes, yeah.
That whole thing was also, because at that point I didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
The ending was just trash too, because the whole thing is about her uncertainty that he's around, yada yada, and then she kills him and still has this sort of flashback of still seeing him somewhere else. It's like she went from being afflicted and then being cured enough, or at least okay enough to plot, to have it work out, to attack him, to do all this stuff, and then go back to being afflicted again by his memory. It was they didn't know what they wanted to do with you.
Right. This was a roller coaster of emotions, and all of them were bad.
They wanted her to be scared and then be back, and then now she's back to being scared. It didn't make sense. And
then one last interesting thing for me was this movie was filmed in Rockland County.
Okay.
Did you know that? I got a ticket there last year. My brother actually got married there. Well, that's where he lives, so that's where he got married. But I've been to Rockland County. Shouts to Rockland County.
Then the last note that I had was the movie ended just as shitty as the movie was, which is that stupid freeze frame. I was like, what was that about? They froze it like some like Parisian film or something, where it was just.
I was trying to think of what even to compare it to, and it was like the end of an anime, like
Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 8. That's how Ocean's movies end, because it's a heist movie. So it's like they got away with it. Like, what was the point? It was like an artistic ending for a shitty ass movie. It's just,
so let's go into our reviews.
Our overall. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get this shit over with. All right. So I thought it had an interesting story to begin with. It definitely gets you to doubt whether she's telling the truth or she's actually having mental issues. And it does set up the rest of the movie to be, mysterious in that regard, in a thriller fashion. You're not sure. Again, we got pretty far into the movie based on that premise, and so they did a good job at it. They were rescued by that fact, even because a lot of the action of the characters were so convenient that it was annoying, and you default to thinking, no, maybe
she's just crazy.
She's just crazy, or she's just imagining things at this part, because this couldn't possibly be how they're actually carrying this out. But again, I had to keep reminding myself that there are a lot of folks who in real life find themselves in these situations and still don't make the right decisions. But it's tough to watch someone fall prey to all the mistakes. Like some mistakes, all right. If she would have almost got out a little bit and then hit a roadblock and then went back a couple steps. No, it's like mistake after mistake after mistake was just tough to watch. And then I think towards the end, it was good to finally see her take control. But the form in which she did it was also so poor that I wasn't even rooting for her at that point. I was just like, let's wrap this up.
I don't know. Yeah, right. Whoever died. If he dies, he dies. That's how I felt. Yes. I could care less right now. She dies. She dies.
It was.
It doesn't matter to me.
And they spent so much time making her make these blunders that it's also a little bit unbelievable to see her now all of a sudden figure it all out. You know what I mean? Where was all this ingenious thinking?
Right, just great decision making.
Other 5 days, that she was in there from the beginning. And even after being warned, hey, this is how they're going to do you. They're going to come at you with silly rap views. Nate told her exactly what they were trying to do and how she even got caught up in the first place. And then he warned her again. It's like, you didn't listen to a word I said. But she might have had I think she did also at the same time have a legitimate mental issue.
Had some sort of mental illness. Yes, 100%. I think that was an underlying theme. I don't know.
Not enough to help the movie though.
Yeah. So this movie was a train wreck. I would do good, bad, good, but I ain't got really nothing.
I ain't even worried about that.
Yeah, I got nothing really great to say. I think the initial premise of the story, again, of the is she crazy, is she not crazy, was cool. And then they just once it turned into a straight up horror movie, like a ghetto ass Halloween, I wasn't feeling it anymore.
No.
I was through. He wasn't a good killer. He wasn't a great decision maker. He wasn't this great super planner. All his plans literally had fucking, I don't even know how long before they were all going to be exposed, because he killed some guy and left him in the fucking park to be found by some random dog.
Yeah, his plan was going to unravel by his own doing. And the fact that it didn't unravel earlier was only because this movie needed it to not happen that way.
Right. Right. So, yeah. I would watch the movie so you can laugh with us about it. Other than that, I wouldn't. I would.
Yeah, this is watching the. Yeah. Have you watched The Room? What they say is the worst movie ever made?
No, because people say that, so I just avoid it. I'm not like you kind of people.
No, sometimes it's
Human Centipede. Human Centipede, I've never seen that.
I saw the first one. Oh, most of it.
Yeah, see, I don't got time for that bullshit. I got 3 kids.
Yeah.
Recital or Human Centipede. Yeah, so my review is fuck this noise. Yeah. This is in the running for the worst movie we've watched so far.
See, yeah, and that's saying a lot. I mean, Predator was pretty bad.
Predator was number 1.
Yeah, I think this
with
is
a bullet.
I think this is number 2.
And easy. It's 1A.
1A. Yeah.
Yeah. This is 1A, because this is not a good movie. All right, that's it.
So this movie sucked. Next week.
That's all I gotta say about that.
I'm upset we even have to talk about this shit.
We got to take a week break and just fucking
recover.
Yeah,
I was low key mad when I was like, yo, I can't believe I watched this shit.
Hey, Denari chose this one.
I did,
just so everybody knows.
To be fair, did not choose this one. It was intriguing, and it somehow had what was the rating on this shit? 60% or something like this?
I saw 80%. I was 80% of the people are fucking dummies. I don't know. I saw it when I clicked on something on.
No, yeah, you're right. Rotten Tomato has it at 80 and Metacritic at 60 something. This is not what I was.
80%. This is not an 80% movie.
Not at all.
So follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Only a Movies Pod.
Also, let us know what movies you want us to cover in the future by responding to our Instagram story, questions, or leaving a comment on any of our pages.
So join us next time for more things that happen only in movies.